How's it going, everybody?
Hey,
Spring
guys.
Leadership 2022, absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome.
Welcome, and I know for Noel and I, we are excited to be able to share some things with you and things that we've
Yes.
learned through our journey. And man, oh man, 2022, just things are flying by. We're at the beginning of one of the major events of the year, leadership.
Yes.
And I know from our side of things, seeing our first leadership, 12 years ago, to be able to get around environment and culture and people and different success principles that were shared on how to, number one, lead, which would be, we've learned this, leading ourselves is the greatest thing that we've learned to do, because once you can lead yourself, you can go out there and lead others along the way. And so obviously starting out today, we were just so grateful for this amazing system that we're part of. Everyone that puts in the work, everyone that works for Worldwide and puts in the time and the effort to make this production and make this happen, unbelievable, thankful and grateful. And obviously, and if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, do you remember our first spring leadership?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay.
Oh,
I'll tell you. All I remember about,
actually,
I'll tell you about my first spring leadership. Let's tell you how mature Noella was. We had gone Eagle in I think it was 2.5 months when we took things serious. So when we actually started doing B, we were in A for a while, but we danced around it and did things that were important to us. And we went Eagle and we basically thought we were the next Diamonds. Hello. And then we fell back out of qualification because someone we sponsored quit. I knew they were going to quit and I said it. Anyway,
people, yeah.
Okay, there was a couple. And then we sat in the stands, but then we requalified. But by the time it was spring leadership, the qualifications were cut off. It used to be 30 days before. And you can just better believe that Miss Noella was super, super irritated being in the stands. I was like, I don't belong here. Which is super funny because clearly I needed to be humbled. And so I belonged there. That's the only thing I remember about spring leadership, and then some incredible lives being changed, but I don't remember the function except for that at the beginning, I was very angry that I was not sitting in the Eagle section. So if that's you in the stands, chew your humble pill. And if you are in the Eagle section or double Eagle section, platinum section, we're very proud of you. Give yourselves a hand. Way to go. I grew up since then. That was 2010 of spring leadership. We drove, I think, a van down to Spokane. Okay, back on track. Here we go.
And I was, we're great. We've got stuff going on.
Yeah,
great.
Your goal was
it came back.
Yeah,
I was,
sure.
and obviously we have different perspectives on things. I was just pumped that we were, moving forward in some way. And I was probably pretty discouraged when people did quit. That I'll probably share a little bit about that today, about emotional stability and
That's
that.
True.
But from Noella's side, it was, she had this.
Everything was a competition, and I was always mad. That was a great couple of years. God bless all of our upline for mentoring me through that. Okay.
We matured through that along the way. And it's, I mean, when you're a competitor, it does make sense. You're in this environment. You're here. You're an entrepreneur, or you're wanting to learn how entrepreneurs think that are successful for your own vision, your own value. There is a competitive nature, and one thing we've learned in that competitive nature is not to be competing with others, but competing with yourself and your personal best and striving forward. And so part of leadership, you're going to have all kinds of people share different topics, and you have different people that have different backgrounds, different perspectives. And the great part about it is it's all a learned skill. You can learn everything we're going to talk about here through either hearing it, watching it, immersing yourself in it, and then going to apply it. That's the last one come out. Our biggest prayer all the time is when people come to this, it's ourselves, and we came wasn't just to take in the content and be entertained. We're not here to entertain. The whole environment's not to entertain you. It's to content rich and experience, to then go out there and pour yourself on others coming out of this environment and apply the things that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you hope to learn in your daily routines after this event's all done. And so one thing someone asked me a while back was, what was one thing that led to your success, or what was, what's one key thing to success? And I said, well,
pick one thing.
You could pick one thing. And I was like, well, I don't think there's just one thing, but this one thing, if you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. And that's follow through. It is, if you don't know how to follow through, you're not going to, commit to anything. And what commitment is following through regardless of what your emotions are. And so that's the first step, is following through. Now, following through doesn't mean you're going to be successful. It just gives you the starting point to move yourself forward. Obviously, you're all here, you're at this event, but that's one trait that I just kind of learned. And so through the journey, I learned this, is that once you can follow through, you already got motion, you already got momentum going. So keep it going. And the greatest part about having people in our life going through this journey and getting started to be in business for ourselves and not by ourselves. We had Ben and Kendra and Jerry and Tam and Dina and Marcy were very instrumental, especially, having Dina and Marcy, when we first kind of got access, they were they were, you know, the spot they were in with the results that inspired me.
You know what else he was inspired by? Is that him and Dean were cheap together, and they were like, they were pumped about that. Yeah, they didn't really talk a lot at the beginning, but they were pumped about how cheap they were. We've moved on.
Yeah, it's called frugality.
We love you.
They were taking care of others. They were value-based. They were value-driven.
Totally.
It inspired me.
Absolutely.
So I remember seeing their dream wall, and they were taking resources that were coming in, instead of just spoiling themselves, they were taking care of others, generations above.
Yep.
And talking about what someday they will take care of themselves as they take care of others. And it for me, it was very inspirational. So I didn't see very many people who created some, you know, success in their life do that. It was usually take care of themselves first, not just their needs, but their wants and desires, and then others. They took care of their basic needs, which was, you know, personal choice, and then it was serving others along the way. And so that inspired me. And with that inspiration, I came to these. I got around the rest of the leaders, and every single person inspired me, and to move forward. And I'll tell you the main reason why was the character traits that I saw in all the diamonds and above. When I got to know them, they're the same people as they were speaking on stage as they were off, as I got around them. And that was hard because, you know, I come from a background of playing hockey, and sometimes your skill developed, but you're still kind of off ice and not so much, or other, you know, other things, other maybe successes out there in the world. You're developed in one area, but you're not developed in others. And this environment brought us to a point where we could develop all areas. And it was talking about legacy and doing something more than just for yourself, but to, you know, I guess for others, but starting with yourself. And I have this analogy that I was looking at the other day, and it was talking about looking at things in pictures and thinking of, like, when you look at an iceberg. You know, I know the Titanic, when, you know, they went out there and it wasn't supposed to sink, and obviously they misjudged the size of the iceberg underneath the surface.
Right.
And that's what we want to talk about today is underneath the surface, the character traits. I mean, you have the superficial surface. You look at yourself that way. You see all the glamour and all you know, people that are sharing. I know for me, when I sat as, you know, sitting out there watching these people talk, or where I am today, when I was back new, I was like, I could never do that. Look at their suits. Look at this. Look at this. And then I realized after, that's just the surface. To get there, there's a big iceberg underneath the surface that you have to develop, and that 80% underneath, because in an iceberg, 20% is on the top, 80% is on the bottom. And of that 80%, that's character traits. That's character. And if you have quality character, you will grow through and build a legacy. I think of Ron and George Lee Preer. We are so grateful.
Amen.
It transformed our whole life because of what they've set forth. And then we could just, you know, come in as just these kids and come run alongside and just pick up what, you know, and just take principles and borrow from other people. And so within that, talking about the character traits, and in those character traits, you have your superficial 20% at the top, which is how you view yourself, surface level, or how people view yourself. You know, maybe if you have some charisma, you're kind of, you know, whatever else is kind of going on. But the reality is that there's the inner traits, which is really what's important. And those traits there's just 4 of the character. And I think some people, you know, miss this sometimes. I know I picked this up the other day. It's just that the 4 traits of character is that there's self-discipline, there's core values, there's sense of identity, and there's emotional security. And thinking about, you know, coming into this opportunity, I think of self-discipline, that's willing to follow through regardless of what your emotions are. Or I've heard this the other day about ethics, someone talking about doing the right thing even when it costs more than you're willing to pay. Think about that. Most people believe they're doing the right thing, but then when the cost gets too high, they kind of maybe fade away and they justify, opposed to going, the cost may be more, but it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And going back to self-discipline, the reason why you'll discipline yourself is because you have a vision of where you want to go and what you want to create. If you do not discipline yourself, someone else will discipline you. Meaning this is that in this opportunity, you're an entrepreneur. You got to build your own fence posts. If you don't build your own fence posts, someone will build fence posts for you, and they will hire you, and you will accept the workload with the leftovers, opposed to in this opportunity to design your own goals and dreams and aspirations and lead yourself through them to get to that spot. And so with self-discipline, the ability to do what's right even if you don't feel like it, core values, the ability to make a moral decision based off your, either your value system or maybe the organizational's value system, because maybe you don't know what your value system is. I know some people come in and they don't have really a value system, but they get, and then they see, like for us, we saw people that talked about faith and family and their health and relationships and building people, and it inspired me going, okay, wow, these people stand for something. They want to make a difference. And so within that double sense of identity, and an identity is a self-image. And I didn't really know what that meant until I realized that a self-image is being able to put yourself in any environment and you're comfortable within that. I know for myself, the only time I was comfortable in environments I was uncomfortable. The only time I was comfortable in uncomfortable environments is when I was drunk or when I was intoxicated or whatever that is. Because
it's true. It's the only time I see you talk. It's the only time I saw Ryan talk in college when we first met. I was like, he's under the influence. He's speaking.
I'm speaking. Before that, I was just quiet.
And singing sometimes, mind you. Yeah.
Anyway. And I think a lot of people like that. They use liquid courage or whatever it is to muster up, the confidence, when that should be yourself. You shouldn't need external things to bring that out. That should be already in you. Or if you're sometimes not raised with that environment, or systems don't help you. I know a lot of people don't grow up in systems that help produce that. This environment did for us. It put us in positions to grow our self-image.
Totally. And I think hopefully you're taking this as encouragement. You may feel sometimes in a function, you feel like everything is lacking and it can be overwhelming. But, a good indicator about like self-image, being comfortable in your shoes is, if you had all the same people in the room, hopefully you don't have all these different types of friends where you do different things and don't live for your values. But like, you got to think of it this way. If you had your church friends and your beer drinking friends, and then like whatever friends, like if they're all in the same room, like what you gonna do is my question for you. You're gonna be like, praise the Lord, grab a beer, beep. And you're gonna say, and people are gonna be like, like, you're gonna be so confused. Like you're gonna look like you have some illnesses possibly. So you want to get to a place where when you're around people, which is our prayer and our hope for us and for our kids and for people that we mentor, that you're not obnoxious, you're not alienating based off of what you believe, but you just represent who you are in such a confident way that people don't follow you just because of your specific beliefs, but people follow you because of what you've done for them, which is amazing. But then people will follow you because of who you are. And when they feel that confidence and they sense that confidence, which is not going to come overnight, you're not going to be perfect. We did not start with it. I may have had some flashy strengths, but I wasn't 100% confident. I was very insecure of looking bad, of doing things I wasn't good at. Ryan was very insecure around the human race. Just kidding. No, we're kidding.
No people.
No people. Okay. But what we're trying to encourage you to do is, are you working towards these things? So don't take this as, this is everything I'm not. Now I'm hooped. I'm never going to be able to do something great. This is just something hopefully you're looking at these things and hearing Ryan speak about these things, and you're making little notes of going, oh, I could improve there. Write some things down, and it's going to take a step-by-step process. So yeah.
And so within that, talking, the last trait which we talked about was emotional security, and being secure in yourself, but also being secure in things that are going on. So within emotional security, you could be, talking about stability and emotional consistency. And so how many of us have had this emotional consistency and stability? I mean, every movie you watch or every, TV ad or all that stuff's all stable. No, it's all emotion driven. It's all drama centered. It's
right.
Like a roller coaster of, oh, I'm so excited, or this, or what's going on here. And all of a sudden it's like down in your highs and lows of life. And we just met people that say, if you want to build something long-term lasting, you got to build that stability. And within that, that's going to take some time. It's going to, struggles are part of life, but it's not wallowing and sitting in them. It's being resourceful through them. I mean, that's the value of having a mentor and a coach in your life. They're not there to take away your struggle. They're there to normalize the struggle, that, hey, as you're going to build something, that struggle is going to happen, but it's what you do with it. It's how you move through it. And so coming in, these 4 character traits, you may not have any of them on track, which is totally fine. I think that's a good honesty check, is going, maybe I don't have any of them. Great. I didn't, but you can grow them. You grow them by learning about them, by creating awareness. Second, by immersing yourself around people who are developing in them, so you can learn some intangible things, and then going to apply them in your work habits.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of, when you think of what we do from the external side, we have, expanding our business and growing our retail. Both those are external things we go apply to. We put these skills of core into practice. And if you're fearful, if you're emotional, if you're scared, if you're excited, and then things don't go your way, there's your chance to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And within the things I talked about, is you're going to develop all these 4 traits will get developed if you're willing to follow through. Mm-hmm. Like I said, go back to the beginning, if you're willing to follow through, and I think you will follow through, because number one, your goals or things you're pushing towards motivate you enough, and you're connected with people who already have done it. So you're not by yourself, because that's one thing going out there and just being in traditional business as an entrepreneur in business for yourself. I'm by yourself, but you don't have that support. We're here. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that means you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to know everything. You actually will not know everything. You will not, come in perfect. You actually, you bloom where you're planted. You take the seed that you are, and then you develop that. And you don't stay where you are. You don't justify the flaws that you have or the weak character or whatever that is. You grow in it. And sometimes people can push that aside and they can just be on the flashy skills and the flashy kind of superficial sides, but it will always catch up to you. And I find that every person who's built a diamond ship and above, and I'm assuming that's why you're here. That's why your time is to build a diamond ship and above. You need to develop that, and your time through the journey is going to develop you and the person you need to develop in to then be the leader you need to be. And when you're the leader you need to be, your organization grows to where it needs to grow to. When all I talked about followers, we're not building followers. You're going to attract people that want to follow, that want to become leaders. We're not in Instagram or whatever's out there trying to get all these followers. We're trying to build leaders. That's the point of leadership today, is to train, equip people to become leaders and build leaders upon leaders. And so you're independent, but cooperatively working as a team. And so
many leaders could solve more problems if they weren't so busy denying them. And I think we live in a world where we're so obsessed with highlighting everything that we are doing great at. I notice even the mom culture, it's so hard to even look at a post because you see a post of a family all smiling together and you're like, well, that would be a Christmas miracle. If I could get all my kids together smiling and dressed and their hair done, that would be fantastic. Oh, now their hair's done, but you need a haircut. Oh, great. Oh, now you're biting your sister. Well, that's unfortunate. And then you just go into this cycle of like, so we almost avoid almost any accountability because we don't know how to actually handle just the principle of life, that we all have things we need to work on, and we all have issues and we all have problems. And we talk about this, like everything's going to be revealed. You are going to be revealed to yourself. Your relationships around you are going to be revealed. If you're in a relationship, the person beside you's weaknesses are going to come out. Yours are going to come out. It's just a hot mess. The layers are coming off, and that's okay. And so hopefully you take these as practical things you can reflect on and go, how can I build more accountability in my life, more self-discipline, increase my EQ, like Brian talked about, work on my self-image. Yep. There's zero expectation that you would have that all together. And I think sometimes the hardest part when we speak is, like Brian said, the flashiness and, I have a sparkle dress on. Well, that's good. I don't have this on very often. I don't cook in this, just so you know. I think
you're gonna start.
Oh, sorry. There's a request from my husband. I will start cooking in a sequence dress starting never. Okay. But the downfall of it is, we want to look professional, but the downfall is that we go through so much that we put this gap between us and the speakers, and you're creating the gap, and you're almost imprisoning yourself with all of these self limitations and, bringing your past into things. And so this is why communication is so important. You communicate, you'll recognize the gratitude for the people in your life. You communicate, your mentors will be there to normalize the struggle. You communicate, maybe your mentor will be able to maybe just shed some light on some blind spots you have. And that's why this community, why we love Worldwide Dream Builders so much, why we're so grateful for Ron and Georgia Lee, why we're so thankful that people came into our life over a decade ago, because it allows us all to work as a community with incredible cardinal rules, the 10 steps of core. It allows us to take our broken selves into an environment and safely grow, but we can't do that for you. Personal responsibility, I say it all the time, is one of the most underestimated and almost like it's, people talk bad about it. People don't accept it. It's almost offensive. But I think it's one of the most important things that we could all unite in, and going personal responsibility for our stuff. And so hopefully you feel encouraged. We want more people coming back as Eagles, double Eagles, platinums and beyond. And just thankful for all of the diamonds who have gone before us, all the diamonds that are coming on. We are just so proud to be an organization like this. So. Yeah.
And with what things we talked about, I hope that you come in and you take bits and pieces and you just go run with it.
Yes.
It's not overwhelming you and go, I can't make a decision. Because sometimes you can suffer from, I could say, analysis paralysis. You get all this content and you're like, where do I start? Just start. And starting could be maybe just send a message to your coach or send a message to who's guiding you, going, what do I do next? Or and they'll just give you a simple sequence to get going. The key is to get moving. You cannot, steer a parked car. You got to get that, you got to get in motion. Like I said, follow through in motion. And that's what the greatest thing that we did with all the things that I struggled with, from from hating people to the business wasn't for me to
excess prices going on.
yeah, we talk about that, or people dressed up, or what, everything. Staying up late. Oh yeah, late. Oh yeah, we started. I started working for reading. I hated reading, grade 3 level. The whole dynamic wasn't like, yes, this is for me, but the results, the results that all the diamonds have, the lifestyle, the legacy, the impact, the generations that you can take care of above and below, was that driving force. That there was enough to go, okay, I need to change this here.
Yeah.
And I learned that you don't do it overnight. You do it step by step by step. And through the compound effect and through little bits, inch by inch, all of a sudden it builds up and builds up and builds up.
Yeah.
And you will accomplish more than you even will ever believe, based off the level you connect with someone who's gone before you. For us, it was Dean and Marcy in our life, and the worldwide system, and all the diamonds that spoke belief in us, that showed that we were capable of doing this more than I thought I was capable. My wife has always been great, but in our dynamic, doesn't matter how great she is, I'm still the anchor in our relationship, or vice versa. And, but we learn to work together. We learn to stay in our own lanes. And that's the great part about, leadership. It's not me leading her, it's me leading me based where I need to go. And that through that should lead the dynamic, opposed to me leading myself and then dictating to her. We're not about building organizations of dictators. We're about building leaders of organizations of leaders that lead themselves, that start by putting themselves in the trenches and teaching from what they've done and what you've done. And that's the greatest part, I think, from our what we have is, it's been very simple in that I just can share what we've done, and I applied it first. And the blessings and the things that have come out of that have been way more than I even thought. Like, I'm not, introverted, and people aren't, I'm not really a people person. This last couple of years really exposed that I actually do. I love being around people. I do, our soul longs for connection. Our soul longs for choice. And this opportunity brought that to the forefront, because I got around people that spoke the truth, that shared what could be. And this is how you get there. Not just, hey, this is what you could have, but good luck and just get in business for yourself. No, this is, you start in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And these are the steps and the progression to get there. And so
awesome. Well, that's everything from us, you guys. We are so proud of all of you. Congratulations for building a future for yourselves, being accountable, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. You guys excited? Oh man, let's hear it again for David and Jamie. Weren't they incredible? Now, just to clarify, his talk was not permission to go out of here and beat people up. I want to be very clear about that. That was not a license to kill, okay? So just so you all know, I know some of you are getting pretty excited about that. You're gonna go karate chop somebody in the face. Oh, you're not looking pap, see that? Learned that at a leadership talk this weekend, okay? So want to make sure we're clear on that, but we're so excited to be with you guys. Wasn't John Maxwell incredible? And the embarrassing thing is he totally stole my talk. I was going to say all those exact same things, so I got to totally go back and write some notes. But we are so excited, and man, 3 years since we had our last live spring leadership. Isn't that crazy? And it's almost like, I don't know if this is like how you think about it, but these last couple of years have been so weird, because it's like we forget how long it's been since we've seen some people. It's like that movie, like in the Avengers, the Infinity War. Remember when Thanos snaps his fingers and half the people disappear for 5 years? It's like we went through a blip for the last, you know what I'm talking about? It's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's been a few years. Oh, welcome back. It's just the weirdest. It's been weird, but hey, we're back now, right? We're back. We're back. And mark my words, we are going into the next 2 to 5 year run of the greatest growth worldwide has ever seen, ever, in the last 40, 50 years. And you guys are all gonna be a part of it. Who wants to be a big part of the greatest growth ever? We are gonna break so many more platinums, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds in these next 2 to 5 years. It's like a powder keg, and it's just getting ready to explode. And that's what Spring Leadership is all about. This weekend is a high performance leadership weekend for you to take what you already know, because every one of you, you're here, you're an IBO, you've been prepared. You know the 10 core steps. You know you need to go Eagle. You know what you need to do. It's just adding that extra little bit of juice to just make that decision. And we say major decisions are made at major functions. This weekend is all about, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's your upline that does the talk, whether it's somebody else, but it's all about the business going from here to here. And when it gets into your heart that you're willing to go out there and fight for it and make it happen and do it every day and rock this thing, because it's so much more than a business. It's about you changing your family's future financially. That's what this is all about. Does that make sense? And so you're going to be a part of that. We're excited to be a part of it, and we just can't wait to share with you here today. So please help me welcome my beautiful wife, Nicole.
Thanks, honey. Hi, guys. Wow, I can just feel the energy. We could feel the energy from backstage, you guys. You guys are on fire. We are so fired up for you guys. Supernatural growth is happening right now. We are so fired up for you guys. But I just want to take a moment to say some thank yous. First of all, to Jake and Jolene Carithers and Trent and Ashley Griffin. Thank you so much for all you guys do. These guys are hosting the function this week, and that means they're taking care of everyone. So we are so grateful to those guys. To Britt and Barb Thalen, thank you for hosting us. We are a job all, just the two of us is a job just to keep us on time and move us along. So you guys are amazing. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for all you do. John Maxwell, I know it's been already said, but you guys, how blessed are we? Like, let's never take that for granted that he comes here to share his best leadership advice, for each and every one of us, his perspective. It's incredible. So just feel so blessed. And then David and Jamie Felber, we're so proud of them. They are so amazing, such great friends, and they're just such great communicators. Love their energy. You guys wouldn't believe this, we're the same age. They don't have kids, we have children, and I'm just like, you guys are like forever 21 years old. Like, I love it. Like, it's awesome. We talk almost daily. They are aunt and uncle to our children. They're brother and sister to us. We love them so much. But and then always a thank you to Theron and Darlene Nelson, my parents, my amazing, incredible parents, and their prayers for their example and their continued love. We just love them so much. But just proud of you guys, proud of your consistency. Eagles and double eagles, way to go, you guys, way to go. These seats are a little better than the nosebleeds, right? You guys earned this. You guys, I hope you're so proud. I know you're so proud, but way to just grow through kind of a wild time. But I have actually a very quick message for you guys. I want to talk about 3 things to be aware of while you're building your business. And I just can't wait to get my husband back up here. I know he has a really great message for you. But number 1, mixed messages. Number 2, distractions. And number 3, handling negative. So number 1, mixed messages. Now this is where wives are saying, I want to go diamond, but don't leave the house. Wait, don't go get names. Let's just have dinner. Let's just hang out and watch movies. So in other words, I want what this business has to offer, but let's not go pay a price. Right? And then mixed messages. And then another one is husbands telling the upline one thing and telling their spouse another. So that's a whole nother thing. So are you sending, or the messages that you're sending, are they helping or hindering your progress in this business? And also, the words you speak, the thoughts that you have, mixed messages. If we really knew how powerful our words were or are, you guys, we would all speak differently, each and every one of us. So speak what you want, not what you have. And listen, this is to you ladies. I know we can tend to be a little more emotional, but you know what? We are sharp. We don't have to go through a roller coaster of emotion. We can take every thought captive. We can choose the words we say, the things that we think, and the actions that we demonstrate. Does that make sense? So take every thought captive. Speak boldly and speak with confidence. Don't say things like, well, I'll try to be an Eagle by family reunion, or our goal is by family reunion. Those things aren't bad to say, but instead say, I will be an Eagle by family reunion. I will be, or a double Eagle by family reunion. And I know for some of you, you guys are on track to be speaking at family reunion. So are you speaking that over your group? Like, we are speaking at family reunion. And you know what? If you are maybe not the one who's going to be the one speaking on that stage, you could be a huge part of your upline speaking on that stage at family reunion. And so that is so important, you guys, because the kind of team player you are is the kind of team you're going to bring on behind you, right? And Jamie Felber said it, but Las Vegas in 2023, any one of you could be at that. So awesome, going into qualification in September. So we just know there's going to be a flood of people in this room attending that. It's going to be amazing. But just don't send those mixed messages of I'll try. Send we are going to, I am a diamond. Speak what you want, not what you have. And then number 2, distractions. Keep it simple. Now, we have 7 children. We have 4 sons and 3 daughters. So I think if anybody could talk about that could possibly be a distraction, that would be us. But I will tell you, we've lived and learned, but we've always kept things very simple in our house. We didn't have our children in 12 different activities running across town. We had them in just a few. I didn't volunteer for a lot of things and things like that. We kept things very streamlined. Vacations were always around business. Moving up was something we always looked forward to because our kids couldn't wait to be around other kids that were like-minded too. And so that's always been amazing. And so, again, our vacations always around business events. But just, again, keeping it streamlined. Vacations, moving, job changes, children, pets, activities, volunteering for things. There will be somebody else that will volunteer as well, so you don't have to be the one to volunteer for everything. But just counsel upline. That's my biggest message with distractions. Counsel upline with every single thing that you're considering doing. Just counsel upline. And again, honestly, it depends on what your goal is. What is your goal? Keep it as streamlined as possible because then you're that much more likely to achieve your goal coming up to family reunions. So make sure that you guys are counseling upline with everything. And then the third thing is handling negative. There will always be critics, you guys, on the side of the road as you guys are just running your race to success. There's always going to be critics. So one of the books I definitely recommend is 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. Such a great book on the book list. A lot of you guys have read it. New one, so awesome. But no one will ever criticize you that is better off in life than you are, that has the life that you desire. Because you know what? If you take a look at their life, would you trade places with them? No way, right? And we've definitely had negative on both sides of our family. We've had negative people in our life, certainly. But you know what? They don't pay our bills. They don't live our life. And we're like, thank you for your concern, but we know we're doing the right thing. We love you. Move forward, right? But successful people don't waste time putting other people down, right? They don't stop and criticize someone. They're like, on the journey to success. They're moving forward. They're like, come along with us. Let's do this. Let's move forward. They're too busy to criticize people. And so the more active you are in your business, the less critics will bother you. It's not the less critics you'll have, it's the better you'll be able to handle that when there are critics. And so just like John Maxwell said, success is a lousy teacher. And so the work is what will give you confidence. Because during the work is when you're going to get a thick skin and a soft heart. You're going to develop that. And so there's comfort in the work, you guys. There's comfort in the experience. You will learn to be able to handle that better. There will always be negative in some capacity around us. You guys, it's all in how we handle it. John Maxwell talked about that really specifically. But just do the next right thing because the best is yet to come. And I cannot wait to hand over the microphone now to my amazing husband. Thank you I was doing the right thing, honey. I love you. Love you guys.
Good job. Good job. All right, great stuff. And really good job, honey. That book Nicole talked about, that 13 things strong people don't do, mentally strong people don't do. Have you read that book? If you haven't, that's got to be a next book. That is such a great book. I'll reference it a couple of times. But I want to talk a little bit about emotional strength, and that's kind of my topic here. John Maxwell talked about connecting success and failure, and that is one of the biggest things that holds people back. Is that our whole lives we've been taught since we were little kids to avoid failure, right? We're constantly encouraged. If we get a good grade, that's good. If we get an F, that's bad. Everything we do in life as we're growing up, we're encouraged not to fail, and so we grow up with a real messed up impression or understanding of what success and failure really looks like. We think that success means you never fail. So when we get into a business where just like in any business, part of being successful in any business is you're gonna put effort into something that does not create results. Your mind perceives it as failure, but to have a true understanding of it, that is just simply part of success. Does that make sense? So it's like when someone goes, "Wow, I really got shot down," or, "Oh, I really failed today." Well, if you go approach somebody and ask them whether or not they keep their options open, if they say no, you didn't fail, that's part of success. If you take someone through a process, they don't earn an offer, you didn't fail, that's all part of success. Every person that doesn't get into your business is part of the story of the people you need to go through to find the people that are going to get into your business. Does that make sense? And so it's such an important thing that we understand that and we learn it, because one of the biggest things that holds people back is, obviously sometimes people get in the business and they don't even start doing anything. They just get in and, don't even start moving forward at all. But most people get in and start doing something. And so why do they start and then they stop? It's because they can't handle what they would perceive of as failure, because they don't have the emotional strength. Does that make sense? And so one of the most important things you need to be successful, it's not to be the greatest speaker, it's not to show the most amazing plan, it's not to have the smoothest approach, it's to obviously we need to learn the skill set to do what we need to do to build a business, but you need to develop the emotional strength to be able to handle what it is you're going to need to go through on your journey to success. It's so important. And so a couple of things here, a couple of tips in regards to helping create that emotional strength. Number one is writing down your goals. It's so important. We say it all the time, is that, do you have goals written down? I always love to ask people, hey, why'd you get in the business? And they go, well, it just made too much sense not to do. Well, I agree with that, but just because something makes too much sense to not do doesn't mean you'll do it. I mean, it makes sense to stop smoking too, right? I mean, but people still, it's not like they didn't know it was bad for them, like they turn over the pack and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh man, how come no one told me, I mean, so knowing something's bad for you doesn't mean you'll not do it. Knowing something's good for you doesn't mean you'll do it. It's got to go beyond just it making sense. Like I talked about earlier, it's got to go from here to here. You got to get it in here. And what happens when you don't write down your goals, if one big thing you took out of this whole weekend was understanding the power of writing down on paper what you want out of your life, there's power in that. And because what happens is when you don't write down your goals, so if you just keep them up here, I know, I've got them right here. If you don't write down your goals, what you do is you continue to subconsciously tell yourself that you don't believe enough in yourself to think you're worthy of accomplishing those goals, therefore don't write them down. Does that make sense? And so the opposite is true too. When you write down your goals, you subconsciously are telling yourself that you believe enough in yourself to think that you have what it takes to be successful, therefore you're writing them down. So a huge thing happens when you write down your goals. And so when you write down what you want out of life, and then you remind yourself of it every day, it helps you handle everything that you need to go through in order to be successful. So it's like when someone, you go, hey man, you keep your options open, you're looking for other things, and they go, oh no, and matter of fact, whatever you're in, I'd never do that. And you go, okay, and then you kind of, in our flesh, we can kind of start to go, oh gosh, what am I doing? And then that's why it's so important every day we remind ourselves. But when we take our eyes off our goals, we start kind of like, not following through. We kind of, I didn't do a few projects. I had a couple days when I had some, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, why emotionally strong people don't give away their power. Okay, that's one of the chapters in the book, right? And so you remind yourself every day, you emotionally connect your goals with the task at hand. And that's being core, right? Doing the big 5 every day, being core every day, a core habit, a daily core habit, making it happen, doing what you got to do. But you have to connect your goals with the task at hand. You have to remind yourself every single day, and that helps you develop emotional strength. Because if I'm every day reminding myself that, like in the beginning for me, before Nicole and I were married, obviously I was married, I didn't have kids, I got in the business as a single guy, I knew someday I'm gonna get married and have kids, I didn't know I was gonna have so many kids, but I knew someday I was gonna get married and have kids, and I knew someday when I get married and have children, I wanna be a full-time dad, I wanna be a full-time husband, I wanna provide my wife with a great life. Now I'm totally liberated, okay? If Nicole wants to get a job, she's more than welcome to. It's when she asks me to get a job, that's pushing it, you know what I'm talking about? And so I remind myself every single day. And so if something didn't go the way I wanted to, I didn't let that bother me, because it's not going to make me kind of go, yeah, you know what? When I get married, have kids someday, I'll put them in daycare. My wife can work 3 jobs, and I'll never retire young and do the things I want to do. Why would I? Does that make sense? You don't give up on what you want out of life. But what happens is if it's out of sight, out of mind, and you're not reminding yourself every day, then you're susceptible to it. So it's so important that one of the biggest things to be emotionally strong is writing down your goals, keeping them in front of you all the time, and getting emotional about it. You got to have a little bit of fight. I was talking with a tennis coach the other day. Our kids play tennis. They play at a tennis academy. And I was talking with the guy that runs the academy, owns the academy, very successful, very illustrious coaching career, coached many, many pros and people that reach all sorts of high levels. And we were talking about, because we talk all the time, he coaches tennis, we coach people in business. It's basically the same thing. And except you don't really have to be as in good of shape. But anyhow, so we were talking about what it takes to be successful. And he was talking about, and I never heard it put this way before, but I loved it. He said, well, he goes, you got to have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And I go, well, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, everybody that's really successful, oftentimes it can be just a real wholesome, like, oh, I want to have a great life, you know what I mean? And you're just kind of running through, chasing after your goals and dreams. But for most people, it's a little bit of not just chasing after your goals and dreams, but a little bit of a running from the nightmare, right? And never underestimate the power of proving someone wrong. Does that make sense? Because I don't know about you, I had some people in the beginning that didn't believe in me. Can anybody relate to that? Okay, John Maxwell said we should talk about our fellowship. I didn't have everyone in my family that. Now, some of you have families where it's like, your mom and dad and aunt and uncle, they're like 3 of your platinum legs and everyone else is a customer. Good for you, okay? That's not normal, all right? Most people's family do not get this at all, right? So, so they're a little bit negative about it. So again, you're not going to let them keep you from doing what it is you need, what you want to do in your life. And so that idea of having a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, kind of like, oh, you don't think this works? You don't think I'm capable of making a mature decision about what I want to do with my life? You don't think this works? Oh, thank you. Do you know what I'm talking about? You got to get a little bit of fight. You got to get emotional about and that's why it's so important to have big goals and dreams, something that you're emotional about. You got to be emotional about fighting for your family, fighting for your goals, fighting for helping other people. Why would you not want to get more people in this room? Does that make sense? Some of you have a very kind of a missionary type mindset. Well, I just really want to, hey, you want to go impact people, build a huge business. Man, that's something worth getting emotional about. Broken families, messed up marriages, people financial ruin, all the stress and horrible things that causes. And to go, man, I can't fix all those things, but I can go build a huge business and do my part to change people's lives. That's worth getting emotional about, okay? And so you got to get emotional. And you think about that. Now follow me here. Some of us, we have this business that'll totally change our life, and we're playing tiddlywinks with it. We're screwing around. We're just kind of, you know what I'm saying? And see, for me, I just remember I go back to the beginning and I think about working for the rest of my life, never having the life I want, never being able to provide for my family I want, never having the kind of marriage I want someday. You gotta fight for that. See, you gotta fight for your goals and dreams because the alternative is something that you need to hate. Does that make sense? That might be a little too emotional for some of you, but that's okay. I can only tell you what makes sense to me is I hated that. You gotta get passionate. You got to get fired up. And if you're not, because here's the thing. If you're not out there kicking butt winning in life, then you'll do what most everybody else does, and God bless them. I'm not criticizing people. It's not philosophy class here. This is about what you're going to do with your life class. Is most everybody else lives vicariously through everybody else kicking butt. Okay? Flying over here yesterday, I'm watching all these guys in the whatever, how's Tiger doing? He's up by 4. He's down by 9. I have no idea what they're talking about. And I don't care because you know what? I'm winning a Masters, sucker. Okay? I don't care what that guy's doing. You got to get out there and win this thing. Okay, so that's number 1, writing down goals. I don't know where all that came from. Number 2 is you need to communicate more. I have no time. You need to communicate more. And you need to counsel more. You went through a process, it's so crazy. People go through a process during mentorship, and then it's like 6 months in, it's like, still doing dumb things, okay? So, it's a free country. You do whatever you want. We're not your boss. You do whatever you want. But why would you not take advantage of what you have access to? Well, I'm not really doing anything. Well, I don't want to fill your cake box, okay? You know why you need to communicate more? Because you need to tell yourself that you believe enough in yourself to have what it takes to be successful. So part of communicating upline is not just the information transfer. It's not having a question, needing to know. If you've been around the business a while, if you've been in the business several years, if you've gone Eagle, if you've gone 2,500, 4,000 or above, you know everything it takes to build a huge business. You need to communicate more because you need to continue to have that belief put in you. You need to continue to tell yourself you have what it takes. You need to continue to act in a place, operate from a place of, man, I'm worthy of success. Does that make sense? So of course I'm going to communicate with my upline diamond more often because I'm going to be one of their next diamonds. Does that make sense? So you got to communicate more. You got to communicate more, okay? Very important. Number 3 is you got to hustle. You want to build emotional strength. Nicole talked about it. David and Jamie mentioned this as well, is go work harder, okay? Go hustle. Go make this thing happen. See, we all want to win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, building a diamond ship. But the way you get into the Super Bowl is you got to win all the games in the season. And in this business, the games are all the board plans going on, whether you're doing board plans, whether your upline's doing board plans. And so you want to focus it. You want to win the Super Bowl, win the game. You got to have new people at the next board plan. New people at the next board plan. That's what builds the business. You either hopefully have an upline doing meetings for you, or you're out doing meetings, or if you don't have either, then you're working on getting enough width to have someone that you can show a board plan for so you can get to where you're out there on the board in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 legs. That's the business. Does that make sense? So winning the game to win the Super Bowl is getting a new person. Whatever board plan you have coming up in your group, get new people there, okay? Because you're designed to win. So great being with you guys. Talk to you later.
The success depicted may reflect income from sources other than Amway, such as earnings from